Welcome back everybody to my weekly live stream, and today I am going to be talking about my 10 favorite movie villains of all time. So make sure to share your favorites in the live chat, and don't forget, to like the live stream. And also sometimes people's live streams do get into people's recommendations. So if you are new here, why not click the subscribe button as well? And also make sure to respect other people's opinions. If your favorites is not on my list, then that's just because it's not one of my favorites. Everybody has different favorites. So with all of that said, let's begin. And also one last thing is that if you have any questions, make sure to ask those questions in the live stream. I don't guarantee that I will answer those questions straight away, but I will try my best to answer them sometime in the stream. So the first one coming at number 10 is going to be Voldemort from the Harry Potter series. Well, sometimes he is just a cliche villain with not much motivations, and it's just evil for the sake of being evil. That's how he is on the outside, but actually if you think about this character, he has very clear motivations, a in-depth, very in-dimensional character arcs, and he has a pretty tragic backstory if you think about it. The way he was treated in his orphanage, the way he grew up with his parents, how his mother's side was kind of a disgrace, and how he hated his father. He had a great motivation, and also he is pretty good at being evil. When he died at the end is one of the best film scenes ever in one of my favorite movies of all time, in Deathly Hallows Part 2. When he is killed, that was fantastic. And he is such a menacing threat. Whenever he comes on screen, you know that nobody is safe, because he is like the best wizard of their generation. He is a very threatening villain. He's been memed so many times. He has uh, a weird looking face, but he is a very threatening, menacing villain, and every time he comes on screen, you know that somebody was gonna get hurt. The first time he comes on screen in the Philosopher's Stone, that was scary, and then in Goblet of Fire when he comes back to life, that was very intimidating and something else. So Voldemort is at my number 10. Moving on to number 9 is going to be Pennywise. Now, a lot of people must be like, yeah, it's not, he's alright. But if you actually look at Bill Skarsgård's performance for this character, he does a very good job. He is very overlooked. He's very scary. Bill Skarsgård gives such a fantastic performance, and when you look at the behind the scenes stuff for this movie and Bill Skarsgård acting without makeup, you can see how talented this guy is. He is scary even without the makeup, even in the audition room. He does such a great job, and he's pretty overlooked. And also in the movies, Pennywise is such a scary character. Again, he is a one-dimensional villain, doesn't really have much motivations, but he is such a threatening and intimidating force that, you just feel scared for the characters every time this guy is on screen. And again, Bill Skarsgård does an amazing performance, and this character is also very entertaining. He's scary, he's entertaining, he does everything really well, and he is a pretty overlooked villain. Bill Skarsgård, he needs an Oscar. He really does. So now let's move on to number 8, and that is going to be Gollum from the Harry Potter movies. Gollum, Andy Serkis does an excellent job as Gollum, one of the best actors ever, and the best motion capture actor ever. He's just amazing. And Gollum is a character that gets a lot of character development throughout the series that I did not expect. Do you like Back to the Future? Yes, I love Back to the Future. Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies of all time. You know, it's such a fun, fast-paced movie. Like it's very rewatchable. It's maybe the most rewatchable movie I've seen ever. It is so fun. It's great. Okay, now let's go back to Gollum. Gollum is fantastic. He is a very unlike the previous villains I had on this list, he has a lot of character development. His backstory is very sad. We get a lot of it. We can see how this character is very conflicted with his, like, split identity, his disorders. Just overall, a very emotionally invested character. Like, he is evil, he is scary, and when he dies at the end, it is satisfying that this guy is gone. But you can't deny that he is a very complex character that, has had a lot of bad stuff happen to him. So you really do feel for Gollum. We can say Smeagol, you feel for him, but at the same time you do hate him. It's like the Joker in the Joker movie. Like you really feel for him, but then at the same time you're scared of him, of what he could become and what he has become. And this is why I love the character. And of course, the CGI work on Gollum is incredible. It is groundbreaking. The Lord of the Rings trilogy is basically just groundbreaking. And Gollum is coming at number 8. So now let's move on to number 7, which is going to be Loki from the MCU. What has not been said about this? Many people regard Loki to be like the best MCU villain of all time, and I can see that. He is fantastic. Tom Hiddleston gives an excellent performance. Loki is just a very fun character to watch, and he is very charismatic. And Loki is also menacing, he is scary, and he has motivations. He has an emotional core to it that a lot of people can relate to. And Tom Hiddleston did a really good job as Loki. He originally tried out for Thor, but I guess he actually, in sort of the way, he got the bitter character with Loki because Loki, a lot of people like him more than Thor himself. And also Loki is just a misunderstood guy. That's what a lot of people say. He is funny. In the first Avengers, he can be very funny. And also he's very scary as well when he like kills a lot of people. He stabs the guy's eye with that thing that was very gruesome. He goes out of his way to be evil sometimes and then he turns into a good guy towards the end before he dies in Infinity War. So that was fantastic character arc with Loki. He is not just a great villain, but overall he's just a great character as well. Tom Hiddleston is one of the best actors in the MCU. I cannot wait for the Loki TV show. This guy, he can carry a whole movie by himself. You can have a whole Loki movie, Loki origin story movie, a Loki movie just by himself because he has the same charisma and like he's as funny and likable as many of the MCU characters. That's just how great Loki as a character is. Now let's move on to number 6, which is going to be Bane from the Dark Knight trilogy. A lot of people have mocked his voice, uh, and I can see, his voice is, well, a lot of people, yes, have mocked his voice. I love his voice. I really like his voice. The other is nice. And Tom Hardy, he's great. He plays perfectly as Bane. And also, this is a Chris Nolan movie, so the villain is going to be basically a foil to the main hero, and he's just going to be like, the basically the whole theme of the movie is summed up in the villain with pain, and that is great. Yes, Bane is such a underrated villain. I don't know why people don't like him. His voice, people make fun of a lot. I really like his voice. Tom Hardy gives excellent performance. I think he's very overlooked and he's overshadowed by Heath Ledger's Joker, who is also fantastic. But the thing with people is that, Bane wasn't as good or great as the Joker for them, so they immediately think that Bane is a terrible villain, even though he is not. Bane is fantastic, and like I said before, it's a Chris Nolan movie, it's a Chris Nolan superhero movie, so the villain is basically the theme of the movie. Pain, with Batman Begins, we had like fear with Ra's al Ghul, and then in The Dark Knight, we had chaos with the Joker, and then in The Dark Knight Rises, we have pain and suffering with Bane. The thing with Chris Nolan villains is that they aren't necessarily great characters, even they are great characters, but they are more of plot devices. They are more, yeah, plot devices that move the story along, which most of the time isn't a great idea. But Chris Nolan plays this in such a way that it it works. Bane was able to physically and mentally destroy the Batman, and I love that. He is a mentally challenging figure. He is also physically challenging, but he is more of a mentally challenging figure that puts Batman in basically hell for a really long time. Now let's talk about The Dark Knight Rises for a second. A lot of people have a lot of plot holes with that movie, and like they come up with plot holes, and I would I wouldn't deny the movie has a lot of plot holes, but I love The Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight Rises is awesome. I'd go too far as to say I like The Dark Knight Rises more than Batman Begins. And a lot of people will be like, What did you just say? The Dark Knight Rises has so many issues. I know it has so many plot holes, but a lot of the plot holes that people come up with this movie, I feel like I can just, say that, give an example. Like, how did Bruce Wayne get back to Gotham City in the short amount of time? And we know that it wasn't a short amount of time. It's been like 1 week at least when he got back to Gotham City. So is Bruce Wayne as Batman? He could have figured out a way to fly across halfway across the world in 1 week. That's a lot of time for somebody to come across the world. And yes, I know he was basically stranded in a desert, but everything else is so fantastic in The Dark Knight Rises. It is epic, it is emotional, and the music for The Dark Knight Rises might be my favorite music out of all, like my musical score for any superhero movie. I like the musical score in The Dark Knight Rises more than the one in The Dark Knight, but I still like The Dark Knight more. So now let's move on to my top 5. Number 5 is going to be Kylo Ren from the sequel trilogy. So I still stand by this, as Kylo Ren is my favorite part of the sequel trilogy. And Adam Driver's performance as Kylo Ren is fantastic. He is great. His character is so emotionally split down the road. He is such a relatable character, as you can call it, to some people. He is a very emotionally I'm very emotionally invested in this character. I know a lot of people have problems with The Last Jedi, but I feel like in The Last Jedi he got a bit more he got he was the main focus of The Last Jedi. I think in The Last Jedi did a great job developing the character of Kylo Ren even further. And I'm gonna say this, yes, Snoke dying, yeah. That was a bit of a letdown, but I feel like that it was a good idea to move Kylo Ren into the main focus and have him be the main focus, so he can be developed more as a villain. And they did a great job with that. Kylo Ren is awesome. He is great at lightsaber combat. He's really entertaining to watch. In The Force Awakens, he is scary. He is intimidating. In The Last Jedi, he is more of an actual character. And then in The Rise of Skywalker, he gets a little bit more developed. And then spoilers, you have his redemption arc as well, which was a bit rushed. If they didn't rush his redemption arc, he probably would have cracked my top three. He is such a fantastic character. It's very easy to root against him, and also very easy to root with him. He is kind of like that neglected child of his family, even though there was only one child in his family, and that's kind of because Han Solo wasn't a very good father, and Princess Leia was always out doing her stuff. Kylo Ren is basically kind of like the Loki of the Star Wars movies, but I just kind of, he is like Loki. He was neglected, but Han Solo and Leia didn't have an excuse for neglecting him. If you don't think Kylo Ren is a fantastic villain, that's totally fine. I know a lot of people that don't like him because he was in the sequel trilogy, and some people sequel trilogy is trash. But I feel like that he was the only part of the sequel trilogy that stayed consistent, and I really feel like yeah, he was the only part of the sequel trilogy that stayed consistent throughout the rest of the movie. Like each movie developed him a little bit more, and each movie worked with him. They did a great job with him, and I really wish that the rest of the sequel trilogy was this consistent. Rank all the Star Wars movies. I've been asked this question before in an earlier live stream, but I think my list has changed a little bit. I'll have to like open up a letterbox page or something. I know at last place is it's Attack of the Clones. No, I don't like that movie. It's pretty boring for me. Ewan McGregor was great, but it was so boring. The CGI was overused. Yeah, Attack of the Clones is boring. And then we have number 10, Phantom Menace, which I do think is better than the Attack of the Clones, like by a long margin. Way, like, I really feel like Phantom Menace is much better. Darth Maul was a fantastic villain. He was great. I love Darth Maul. I think they did a better job with Darth Maul in the Clone Wars series than the movies. But the Phantom Menace ending fight scene was great. It was still pretty good. What else? Number 9 would be Rogue One, a Star Wars story. The visuals are fantastic, beautiful visuals, amazing cinematography. It was great. The visuals were great, but then the characters were so hollow. The plot was hollow. I liked Rogue One when I watched it at first. I really enjoyed it. And then I watched it a second time. I liked it less. And I watched it a third time and I found it to be very boring. Like extremely, extremely flat and boring. And now all the Star Wars movies from 8 and above I like. So the bottom 3 I did not like. 9, 10, and 11 I did not like. But now we have the movies I like. Number 8 is Rise of Skywalker, which I do have a lot of complaints about, but I still like it. If I had to grade it, I'd give it a B minus. So it was like a barely a good movie. Again, the visuals were fantastic. The action scenes were great, but the story was a bit rushed and all that stuff. Yeah, Palpatine could have had a little bit more development. Everyone should have had a little bit more development. A little bit of plot holes, which I did not like. I did just complain about people against Dark Knight Rises plot holes, but the plot holes in Rise of Skywalker are pretty not that great. Number 7 would be The Last Jedi, which I barely like over Rise of Skywalker. I still like these two movies. Number 7 is the visuals are great, cinematography was beautiful. Ryan Johnson tried to do something special, even though it didn't work all the time. I thought the Canto Bite stuff did bog down the pacing, and I don't know why the purple hair lady, General Holdo, didn't tell them the plan. That's a big plot hole. But it is entertaining, like the stuff they did with Kylo Ren, like I said earlier in the stream. Number 6, I'll go with Solo, a Star Wars story. It's a pretty overrated sequel. Solo, a Star Wars story is overrated. I mean, it's underrated. I don't know why many people hate it. People just say it's forgettable, but I really liked it. They did a great job with Han Solo. I don't know how to pronounce the actor's name, but he wasn't trying to copy Harrison Ford. He's trying to do his own thing, but he was trying to stay true to his character of Han Solo. Chewbacca, like for the first time, was an actual character and wasn't like Han Solo's pet. Lando, they got him right. And Dryden Voss. Dryden Voss is such an amazing villain. Why don't people talk about him so much? Dryden Voss is so entertaining to watch. Dryden Voss is amazing. I really don't know why people really hate this movie. I don't think it was perfect. There was some issues. Like the first 20 to 30 minutes was a little bit out of pace, as you can say. And the characters at the beginning of the movie, some characters were just there for like 2 minutes and completely just get lost. And it's not the most rewatchable Star Wars movie. And the Lando's droid did get a little bit annoying sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. But she was only there for 20 minutes and she didn't completely ruin the movie for me. Number five would be Revenge of the Sith. This is a great movie. The first 20 minutes was boring as hell. Like watching this movie multiple times, the first 20 minutes was boring. And then we have the stuff with Yoda going to Chewbacca's planet, which could really be just cut out of the movie and I think would be different. And then we have the other stuff, which I just loved. I think the music was fantastic. This had one of the highest, maybe the highest emotional stakes out of any Star Wars movie. I thought the acting was great. The ending was awesome. I really loved it. A lot of people complain about the Darth Vader scene at the end when he shouts no. I really don't know why. I really think that there is a lot of bad stuff in Revenge of the Sith, but then there is a lot of great stuff that is just so good that I can kind of forget about the bad stuff. Like the first 20 minutes was boring, but then once Palpatine started doing his plan, I'm just so invested in the story that I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Why couldn't the whole prequel trilogy be like this? Number four, I'd say The Force Awakens. Now, these top four movies I absolutely love. I still have issues with them, but I absolutely love my top four movies. Force Awakens is it's just so refreshing. It's funny. It's like the Marvel formula on a Star Wars movie, but it works. It works. Kylo Ren was a great villain in The Force Awakens. Snoke was okay. The lightsaber fight at the end was pretty good. A lot of people complained, why couldn't Kylo Ren beat a girl that has never held a lightsaber before? And the answer to that is because Kylo Ren had been shot by Chewbacca's bowcaster before the fight began, which is a pretty deadly weapon if you have seen what it did throughout the whole movie. And it's just I don't know how to say it, it's just so refreshing. It's like the most blockbustery Star Wars movie. The one you shove popcorn in your face, like one it's just that. And I know they copied the New Hope formula, like this basically the whole plot of the New Hope and it's the copy and paste. Which is my biggest issue with the movie, but then we have everything else which is great. The emotional moments with Han and Leia was fantastic. The last scene with Han Solo was done very well. I loved The Force Awakens. It is a very refreshing movie. And number three would be Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi is awesome. I know the Ewoks. The Ewoks were the only thing that stopped me from giving this movie an A plus. I'll give it an A. It is such a great movie. It's fantastic. Return of the Jedi is awesome. I love Return of the Jedi. And I did say, yeah, the Ewoks. I don't even hate the Ewoks that much, but like they kind of slowed down the movie. If they were removed from the movie, it would have been an A plus. And then we have the emotional moments with Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, which is great. That is some of the best stuff in the whole series right there. I loved what they did with Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. It was great. And number two going to be the original Star Wars masterpiece, perfect filmmaking, one of the most important movies ever made, one of the most I can't even say it right, one of the most groundbreaking movies ever made. So many things from pop culture and everything has been inspired by this movie. If it wasn't for the original Star Wars, we wouldn't have like special effects that great today. We wouldn't have so many stuff today. And of course, not just on the technical scale, also on an entertainment scale, it is a masterpiece. The It is such a fun, fast-paced movie. The pacing is perfect for this movie. Everything in this movie I loved. It was fantastic. And then of course, number one is going to be The Empire Strikes Back, which was fantastic. There are so many neat emotional stuff throughout this film, and it gives us the greatest twist of all time. And we have Han Solo being more developed as a character, which is my second favorite Star Wars character of all time. What hasn't been said about this movie? This Empire Strikes Back, it's so amazing that people use it nowadays to like compare how good of a quality a film is. Like how many times have you heard this is the Empire Strikes Back of the series? How many people have said Avengers Infinity War is the Empire Strikes Back of the Marvel movies? And it is. It kind of is. So there is my Star Wars ranking. It did take a kind of long of a time, and I'll just go back to why I love Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren is fantastic. He is great. Kylo Ren, Adam Driver did a very good performance. He really sold me on this character. If it wasn't for him, I might have not I might have not really liked this character as much as I did. So now let's move on to number four, which is going to be, before I go to number four, I have to let's answer the question. Grade all the MCU movies. Grade. So if you want me to, have to grade all of them, all 23 of the MCU movies. So I just kind of ranked them as well. Basically, I just ranked them and grade them at the same time. So coming in at last place is going to be Thor: The Dark World. I'll give it a C. Yeah, it's pretty boring, and it's alright. Thor: The Dark World is pretty, yeah, it's not that great. Thor was okay. The music I loved. The CGI I like. And there's nothing really that good. Malekith is a horrible villain. One of the worst superhero movie villains of all time. Though The Dark World is not a horrible movie, but it's not a very good one either. Number 22, The Incredible Hulk, C+. Not really good CGI. The acting was fine. It was watchable, I guess. Number 21. So from number 21 and onwards, these movies I like. Number 21 is going to be Ant-Man. I still like Ant-Man. I'll give it a B minus. I still like it though, but it's just there are other better movies on the list. It's not as good as the others. There's some stuff that are not really enjoyable, kind of forgettable. Number 20, Iron Man 2, B minus. Number 19, the original Thor, uh, another B minus. 18 will be Captain Marvel, another B minus. And number 17, Captain America, the First Avenger, which is another B minus. So a lot of these MCU movies are kind of just forgettable, uh, just standard blockbuster movies. Number 16 would be Ant-Man and the Wasp, the first. I'd give it a solid B, and then 15 would be future filmmaker's favorite MCU movie, Age of Ultron. I still really like Age of Ultron. I give it a B. I can see why a lot of people really love this movie. I can see why a lot of people really hate this movie. I'm kind of in the middle of it. Ultron. I wish he was a little bit more scary. I wish he was kind of like the Terminator. I guess he's still one of my favorite MCU villains. Uh, yeah. and the final battle was pretty cool. I guess I think this movie had I would have loved it. I really think I could have given this movie an A plus if it was just 3 hours long. I really wish it could have been 3 hours long. There was a lot of stuff that I really loved in this movie, but and then there's some stuff that really should be a little bit more stretched out or developed, I guess. I still like it. I love the music. I love the music for this movie. A lot of people don't talk about it. I love it. The ending was pretty cool to look at, and it was pretty important to Endgame's success, I guess. Number 14 would be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Uh, I'd grade that, I'll give it a B. It's a visually impressive film. I just feel like that the first hour is a pretty messy, and some of the jokes don't work a lot, and it's just a pretty slow start to the second act. But once it does start, it was pretty entertaining. The first act was pretty entertaining too, but it was just a little bit messy all over the place. And the Golden People, I'm not a big fan of, and it's sometimes, most of the time, it's a pretty funny movie. Some of the jokes don't work. It's still a fantastic MCU movie. Number 13 would be Iron Man 3. I'd give it a B. And I really enjoyed this movie, and the reason I don't like it is that Aldrich Killian is not that good of a villain. And I'm not one of those people that don't like this movie because of the Mandarin twist. No. Well, I sort of don't. I'm sort of one of those people. It's not, I would have given this movie a higher grade if Aldrich Killian was a better villain, because his motivation is basically just Tony Stark didn't show up to meet him on the roof. Which I'm like, what? What the hell? And the Mandarin would have been a better villain, but it's fine. Now number 12. A lot of people want to kill me for this. I have Black Panther. I'll still give it a B. The Killmonger is a fantastic villain. The music is fantastic, and Chadwick Boseman, of course, he was a fantastic actor. It was a sad loss, but I feel like the CGI was a bit wonky at the end. The pacing at the first act was kind of not great. Yeah. Number 11, Spider-Man Far From Home, which was pretty fun, entertaining, B plus, pretty cool. Number 10, Doctor Strange, B plus. I'm gonna go pretty fast so I can go back to my number 4. Doctor Strange will be a B plus. Number 9, the original Iron Man, A minus. Number 8, Guardians of the Galaxy, A minus. Number 7, The Avengers, A minus. Thor Ragnarok, number 6, A minus. Number 5, The Winter Soldier, a solid A. Spider-Man Homecoming, another A. Civil War, an A. And number 2 would be Avengers Endgame and an A plus. And number 1 would be Avengers Infinity War. Avengers Infinity War, I feel like it's pretty overshadowed by Endgame. And one thing I think a lot of people don't talk about in Infinity War is the music is fantastic. And Scarlet Witch in Infinity War was such a great character. I feel like in Age of Ultron they did a pretty good job with her, but she shines the most in Infinity War. Her dynamic with Vision and the relationship with Vision was so emotionally investing, and the scene where she's blocking off Thanos to kill Vision and stuff, that was such a powerful moment. Scarlet Witch was awesome. And of course, the music, the ending, everything about it was fantastic. I loved Infinity War. So now let's go back to my ranking. Number 4 is going to be Emperor Palpatine. So another Star Wars villain we have. Emperor Palpatine is awesome. He doesn't really have a motivation, I guess. He is kind of that one-dimensional villain, but he is such an entertaining character. He's just basically the ideal villain for a big franchise like this. He's scary. He's just maybe yeah, I think he is. He's the most evil person on this list. the most evil of the most evil people. And that is just so awesome. His power set is so unique. Just a very entertaining character to watch. It's just so fun to watch this character be evil and see his master plan just unravel. This guy is so smart. He's awesome. Now let's move on to my top three, which is going to be Thanos from, from the MCU. Thanos is great. He has the motivation, and like I said before, that scene in Infinity War was fantastic. And the scene where he kills Gamora was maybe one of the most emotionally impactful scenes I have ever seen in a theater. I I don't know why. I'm not even a big fan of Gamora, but for some reason that scene was just so amazing. It was so well shot. The cinematography in that scene was great. The music building up so perfectly. It was amazing. I don't know why I love that scene so much. And Thanos, he's great. Josh Brolin gives a fantastic motion capture work as the Mad Titan Thanos. It was fantastic, and he has the great motivation. He has a very in-depth psychological. He has a whole movie basically to himself about his motivation and why he is a big purple mean guy. And yes, he is fantastic, and yeah, I do think he is a better villain than Loki. He is a better villain than well, what are the Bane than all the other villains on this list. He was great. Thanos, he's awesome. He is scary. Every time he is on screen, you feel like that nobody is safe. You know that not all everybody is gonna survive, or that somebody is gonna get hurt. He is a menacing villain. He has a very emotionally investing character arc in him. And I loved what the Russos and the screenwriters of Infinity War and Endgame did with him. A lot of people do complain about how he basically just turns into a stereotypical villain in Endgame, but I feel like that was natural. He is less mature. He's 2014 Thanos. He's less mature, and he's he's fighting for more personal gain. These guys have chopped his head off, trying to undo his work. So he has a personal hatred towards the Avengers, rather than an Infinity War where he was just out to do his everyday work, as you can say. But coming at it number two is going to be the Joker from The Dark Knight. What has not been said about this character? The Joker is fantastic. He is great. The Joker, the Joker is the Joker. He is amazing. And what they did, what they did with Joker was fantastic. I loved every single. moment this character comes on screen in The Dark Knight. Joker is my favorite of the trilogy. Yes, same. Joker is my favorite of the Dark Knight trilogy, but that's not to say that, he's not, that the other villains in the trilogy are not great. They are. Chris Nolan gave us like one of the best, like the best movie villains of all time. He gives excellent, excellent things, villains to be in his movies. He is a fantastic director. He makes the best villains ever. He is so well. He's fantastic. He's my favorite film director of all time. He does such a great job. So I'll just be right back before I give my number one favorite film in my favorite movie. So this is it for this little stream, and I'll be back. So my number one is going to be Darth Vader from the Star Wars movies. Darth Vader is fantastic. Darth, what hasn't been said about this character? Darth Vader he's awesome. He's maybe the most popular and most iconic movie villain of all time. He is great. And a lot of people complain that he was messed up in the prequels, which I can see why that is. I do feel like that they kind of messed him up in Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace, but Revenge of the Sith he was fantastic. Uh, A New Hope he was fantastic. A New Hope he was intimidating, scary, and then in Empire Strikes Back he was much more developed as a character, and he was great. He was great in Empire Strikes Back, and then Return of the Jedi, we have even more development of this character. They did such a good job with Darth Vader, and then we have him in Force Awakens. Didn't show up in the Force Awakens, but we can see the impact that he has left behind with him. This is my favorite movie villain of all time. I won't be ending the stream right here. If you guys have any questions, make sure to ask them. I ask those questions, and I will be back with more things to talk about. So I am back, guys, and I already have a question. What is your favorite Mission Impossible movie? It's gonna be Mission Impossible Fallout. Mission Impossible Fallout, that is such a well-made action movie. I have no idea how how they pulled off so many stunts in that movie. Not just the stunt work in that movie, also, the the story, the emotional stakes of the movie were fantastic. When I watched it in the cinema, it was so it was such a spectacle to take in. It was so breathtaking. It was fantastic. I really Loved what they did with uh with that movie. Of course, it's gonna be Mission Impossible Fallout. Tom Cruise, he's he's amazing. He's gonna die one day most likely doing these stunts. Like that's kind of sad to say, but you gotta be honest. He does so many over the top stunt work that you're like, Jesus, what is this man gonna? How far is he willing to go to give us entertainment? Like he learned how to ride a helicopter, like really, so he can fly it through dangerous mountains that even trained professionals would not even dare to do. Like how? Like this guy is so dedicated. He is such a like he's so great. Tom Cruise is such a dedicated actor. Can't believe he does this. Uh, and the direction by Christopher McCurry. I can't even say his name. I'm gonna call him Chris as well. He did an amazing job directing the movie, and the script was great. The emotional stakes were high, extremely high. I just don't know how they pulled off such a great sixth movie like this. How is that even possible? What is your favorite movie of last year? Favorite movie of last year? It's gonna be Avengers Endgame. You can call me a fanboy. Well, I am. It's Avengers Endgame, and then number two, followed very closely by Parasite. Parasite. Wow. When I when everybody was talking about Parasite, won Best Picture, I'm like, really, this movie looks not that great. It looks so overrated. And then I watched the movie, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll still count, and still like that's kind of overrated, but I still liked it. And then I think about it, and then it's just a masterpiece in my mind now. Parasite was fantastic. It was great. And if I have to go with third, I go with Doctor Sleep. Doctor Sleep was pretty underrated. Yeah, huh? Like, I think yeah, it was really underrated. Ewan McGregor did a fantastic job as um the Doctor Sleep character as forgot how can I forget his name? I'm just gonna call him Doctor Sleep for now. How many movies did you see? How many movies last year? Did you mean to say how many movies did I see last year? Uh, I'm just gonna talk about Doctor Sleep before like, you can fix that sentence. Doctor Sleep was fantastic. If you have not seen Doctor Sleep, check it out. Doctor Sleep was great. Ewan McGregor might have given the best performance of his career. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood would be number four. It's fantastic. Did you last year? So how many movies did you see? Let's see. Yeah. Okay. How many movies did you see last year? So if you're talking about 2019 released movies, by the end of 2019, I'd see 40 2019 movies, but right now it's 49. I still have not seen The Lighthouse. Yeah, 49. Really, that is a lot of movies I think about it. But then you have some people that like I've seen like 100 and plus. Like Sean Chandler talks about, and I believe a future filmmaker has also seen like around 100 movies last year, and I am only here with 49. Like, I've only seen 49. Then Sean Chandler talks about like 130 or something. I don't know, and I don't know how the flick pick. He doesn't watch, doesn't. Well, he's seen a lot of movies, highly reviews a lot. And then you have Austin Burke as well. Like how how do people watch so many movies and I'm just here watching half of many people? Like how I cannot fathom on how people watch 100 movies per year. Bottom 10 and top 10 of 2019, please. Oh, so bottom 10, I would have number 49, Pet Cemetery, 48, Gemini Man, 47, The Kid Who Would Be King. Yeah, I'm just reading this off my letterbox page. I don't even know if this is still accurate. This is just my automatic ranking on my letterbox page. So 47, Kid Who Would Be King, 46, Ugly Doll. So a lot of people that watch my videos for a long time would know that Ugly Dolls was my least favorite of 2019, but now I switched it around. It's like my fourth least favorite. 45 would be Child's Play, and then 44 Dark Phoenix, The Lion King at 43, Escape Room at 42, Wonder Park at 41, and then Dora, The Lost City of Gold at 40, and then the Crocodile Crawl movie at 39. And if you're talking about top 10, yeah, number one would be Endgame. Number two would be Parasite. Three, Doctor Sleep. Four, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Five, Jojo Rabbit. Six, Toy Story 4. Four would be Ferrari. And number seven, Knives Out at number eight. Number nine, Joker. And finishing, capping off the top 10 would be 1917. These 2019 was a fantastic year for movies. Number 11, even movies that are not even top of my top 10 I love. Number 11, John Wick Chapter 3. That was a great action movie. Frozen 2, I feel like is a pretty underrated sequel. The Hidden How to Train Your Dragon 3, fantastic. Spider-Man Far From Home, pretty good. Shazam was pretty decent. And Glass. Yeah, Glass was pretty, it was alright. Glass was alright. I feel like, and number 7, Lego Movie 2, yeah, 2019 was like a really good year for movies. And I look at 2018 was really bad. Was really really bad. Uh, Spies in Disguise, great. Missing Link, Rise of Skywalker, right. It Chapter 2 was okay. How do you feel Glass 2019? Um, I mean, how do I feel about Glass 2019? Or if you're asking me how do I feel about Glass 2019, I think Glass 2019 is pretty underrated. There is some dumb stuff in there. Yes, I know the last third act was out of nowhere. It messed up the whole movie. But then we have the other great stuff in the movie, which I absolutely loved. There is some really, really great stuff in Glass 2019 that a lot of people tend to miss and not really talk about because how horrible the ending was. So if I had to grade it, I'd give it a B. And then I remember there was one time I gave it an A minus. And I think about thought about it more. The ending is pretty bad, but overall, like the first and second act was great. I really liked the first and second act of Glass, and then we have the ending, which kind of mucks up like yeah, like the whole the whole movie, but like it's not that bad to like ruin everything, but it did drop uh my score for the movie, which I probably would, which I gave it a high score when I first saw it, and give it like an A minus, and now drop it to a B. I still recommend it. I still think it's a good movie. It's pretty underrated. And people hate it too much, I guess. Like it's not it's not as bad as people say it is. The acting is great. The acting is terrific. I I forgot the guy's name. The guy that plays The guy from Split. How can I forget his name? I'm just gonna search it up right now. Glass 2019 cast. James McAvoy, yes, he was great. Bruce Willis was great. Samuel L. Jackson was great. Anya Taylor Johnson was great too. Like, it was pretty underrated. I'm gonna say that. Like, check it out. If you're one of the people that don't watch movies because of many other people that said it's shit, yeah, that's totally fine. I mean, I still haven't seen the Twilight movies because people have said it's bad. But this is one of those movies that you have to make up your you have to make up your mind on the movie yourself because that's a very subjective film. You have to check it out for yourself. Like, I'd say it's a good movie. I'd give it a like a good score. I give it a B. I still think it's great. Do you prefer physical media or streaming? I'm gonna go with physical media. 4K Blu-rays have still not been matched by streaming. Disney Plus, uh, Netflix, they still have not matched it. It is still the best way to watch a movie. The audio quality is pitch perfect, the picture quality is pitch perfect. I prefer physical media, even though it's dying, but I prefer physical media. I just like holding a movie in my hands and be like, yes, I own it. I own this movie. It just feels so good. I prefer physical media over streaming. Yeah, it's just at it probably won't even be matched. If your Wi-Fi is absolute garbage, you're not gonna get to watch your movie in peace. It's not gonna you're not gonna have a great experience because your Wi-Fi is absolute trash. Like, and you have 3D Blu-rays, which I have never seen in my life because I'm not rich enough. Like, many people aren't rich enough to own a 3D TV with like 4K picture quality. So yeah, physical media is great, and I can see, why people. It's just easier for most people, to just sit at home, turn on Netflix, turn on Disney Plus, HBO Max, whatever, and just watch their favorite movies rather than going to the rental box or to like the shop to buy it, and sometimes it's just overpriced. But I do prefer like just holding like holding physical media copies in my hand. It just feels nice. And like, of course, it cannot be uh topped by streaming services yet and people's internets. Have you seen New Mutants? No, I have not seen the New Mutants. I probably won't watch it anytime soon. Like, I'm not gonna pay to see that movie in the cinemas. I really am not. I'm not gonna go risk my life to watch that movie in a cinema, and it's probably not even worth it. I've seen the IMDb score, like I just said, don't judge movies just by that. But the trailers don't look good. The movie has been recut and re-edited for over 3 years. It has a 5.6 out of 10 on IMDb, which isn't that bad. Nah, I'm not gonna watch the New Mutants, and I probably won't watch it anytime soon, so I might not be able to review it anytime soon, but I'm gonna try and somehow watch it by the end of the year. Yeah, so I'm not gonna watch New Mutants, sadly, not anytime soon. Um, if it comes out on VOD, they should just drop the movie on VOD. Has it even dropped on VOD? Like, I don't even know if it's dropping on VOD or not. I'm just gonna search it up. If it will drop on VOD. or not. Uh, so far, it's not. It's probably won't drop on VOD pretty soon. It feels like a VOD movie. Like it actually just should be a VOD movie. For some reason, it's not a VOD movie. Why? Just drop it on video on demand. Like most people would not even go out of their way to watch this movie in the cinema. Like it's not a movie to really experience in a big screen. Like, would you rather go watch Tenant? Like, which audience members would rather go watch Tenant, or would they rather watch uh the New Mutants? Like, who wants to risk their life to watch the New Mutants in the theater? And I know I'm not really gonna like the movie. I know I'm not to judge a book by its cover, but I'm pretty sure I am not going to like the movie that much. Are you excited? Wonder Woman 84 and Black Widow. Yes, Wonder Woman 84 was pretty high on my most anticipated list of the year, and Black Widow was pretty high too. I don't even know if they're gonna come out. Like Black Widow, might they just might dump it on Disney Plus. And wait, is Wonder Woman 84? Has it been postponed? Like, might even be postponed. Well, it's not been postponed. Has it been postponed? So yeah, it's been postponed to Christmas, December 25th. So I probably won't get to watch it by the end of the year. I'm pretty excited for it, but like it's like 2-3 months away. There are no like September right now. It's pretty far away. Black Widow's much closer. I'm also like, are they gonna release this movie on Disney Plus? I'm gonna search that up. Black Widow, Disney Plus. There's rumors that they will. Uh, might not. Yeah, Black Widow could be delayed again. I think they should just like release these movies in 2021. To be honest, yeah, 2021 is already a jam-packed year. But what studios should just do is just take the 2021 releases, put it in 2022, and take the 2020 releases that didn't get to be released this year and put it in 2021. That's what they've done. But Black Widow, well, Black Widow has been, it's still going for that November uh thing release date, and I can see it dropping on Disney Plus, and I can see it being delayed, and I can also see when things get much more clear, it releasing in wide theaters in November, and maybe by the time in November, people will be excited to go uh to the theaters and see the new Marvel movie, and then we also have Wonder Woman 84, which I think Black Widow might probably make more money because it's Marvel. Uh, feel sad for Tenet called its box office. Yeah, Tenet. Tenet was awesome. I love Tenet. It's my favorite movie of the year so far. I mean, I haven't seen much movies in the year. It's made like, what do you call it? Like, it's made 152 million. It still hasn't, surpassed its budget, but it's had a pretty small domestic opening of 20 million. I really don't want this movie to fail. Tenet was such a good movie. This movie doesn't deserve to fail. It really deserves like as much as the money it can get. And I know, people like don't want to risk their lives to go watch a movie, but Tenet was just so good. Tenet was awesome. And I really don't want it to fail. Like, it's a movie that is great. It is a really good movie. It was really well crafted, and the people that made it, you can tell that they really tried. They made something special. Chris Nolan made something unique. It's like my favorite movie of the year. Uh, like I don't want it to fail. Really don't want it to fail. And probably might. It probably might. It probably make barely its budget back. Maybe like a 250 or like a 300. It's a pretty long margin. Like it's pretty far, like what is like the box office predictions for like its second weekend? Rank all 2020 released you have seen. The 2020 released movies. I have to open my letterbox page again. So this will probably be my last question before maybe my second to last question. If you have any more questions, make sure to ask them, and then I'll end the stream pretty shortly. 2020 movies. Last place will be Doolittle at 17. I've only seen 17 movies this year. 17 will be Doolittle. Uh, The Boy 2 at 16. Scoob at 15. Mulan at 14. Underwater at 13. The Hunt at 12. Trolls World Tour at 11. Timmy Failure Mistakes Were Made at 10. Sonic the Hedgehog at 9. Extraction at 8. Number 7, The Invisible Man. 6, Birds of Prey. 5, Bill and Ted Face the Music. And number 4, The Call of the Wild. 3, Onward. 2, First Cow. And number 1, like I said before, earlier in the stream, Tenant. My favorite movie of 2020. So if you guys have any more questions, make sure to ask them, or else I'll be ending the stream pretty shortly. And like I said, for Tenant, really don't want it to fail. It is such a great movie. They deserve all the money they can get. Uh, it's such a great movie. Really, go watch Tenant, guys. Go watch it. If you don't, don't worry. You don't want to, like, risk your life. That's fine, but like, it just feels sad for Tenant. Favorite movie of each year, 2010 to 2019. Favorite movie of each year. Oh, that is a hard question. 2010. Again, I'm gonna open up a letterbox page to go look at that. All these questions that people ask me, like rank them or anything. Like this is why I make letterbox lists in case these live streams. Where is my list for my the favorite of each year? Where is it? Best movies. Oh, here it is. Found it. Okay. Yeah, Inception for 2010. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 for 2011. Dark Knight Rises for 2012. Frozen 13. Interstellar 2014. 2015 would be Mad Max Fury Road. 2016, Civil War, Captain America Civil War. And 2017, another superhero movie, Logan. 2018 and 2019, Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. So the previous 4 years have all been dominated by superhero movies. The Dark Knight Rises was also another superhero movie. And all 4 of them have been Marvel movies, 3 of them have been MCU. The MCU Phase 3 was awesome for them. Endgame was great, Infinity War was great. They did such a great job with the MCU. So I'm going to be ending the live stream here, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and this is it for the stream, guys. And I'll see you all